I would like to share a lesson I acquired through experience. As one ages, it becomes increasingly evident that not all individuals merit one's kindness. Having lived a comprehensive life, one often seeks to assist others through the sharing of time, knowledge, and financial resources. However, the reality is as follows. Certain individuals may decline assistance. They seek to utilize you. They will sap your energy, manipulate your goodwill, and leave you feeling exploited, guilty, and worse, empty. This video presents 5 categories of individuals whom one should refrain from assisting in later life, regardless of their appealing demeanor or apparent neediness. Safeguarding one's peace and emotional well-being is not an act of selfishness. It is a matter of survival. Remain engaged until the conclusion, and you may prevent significant future regret. If this content resonates with you, please subscribe and enable notifications, as your insights warrant safeguarding. Commencement is in order. The chronicler is the most important figure. I previously held the belief that through sufficient assistance, sincerity, and kindness, individuals would ultimately change, recognize this effort, and improve themselves. After more than 70 years of existence, I have come to acknowledge a difficult reality. Not all individuals merit your kindness. The more assistance you provide to certain people, the greater the personal cost incurred. I refer to them as chronic takers. Individuals who appear solely when they require assistance from others. They seek financial support, guidance, empathy, or simply a platform to express their concerns. They possess the ability to communicate in a pleasant manner. They create a sense of significance, as though you are the sole individual in whom they place their trust. Initially, you assist them wholeheartedly. After careful consideration, only one more instance is necessary. However, by the 10th, one is fatigued. The most unfavorable aspect is that they do not genuinely care about you. They do not genuinely care about you. My friend Robert is a kind and humble individual who has dedicated his life to saving. Recently, he sold his old car, not for travel or medical expenses, but to settle debts incurred by a nephew who repeatedly borrowed money without repayment. Robert believed that family held greater significance than financial wealth. He quietly acknowledged that by assisting him, I forfeited both my savings and my peace of mind. Seniors frequently exhibit compassion. Humanity has endured adversity, conflict, and bereavement. When observing others in difficulty, our initial response is to offer assistance. It is important to keep these principles in mind. Kindness does not imply permitting others to exploit you. Continued assistance to an individual who exhibits no growth or change ceases to be beneficial. You are facilitating. Chronic users possess the ability to manipulate emotions effectively. They induce feelings of guilt when someone refuses their requests. They evoke memories of past assistance, suggesting a sense of obligation. When there is no reciprocal contribution, one does not feel obligated to others. Establishing boundaries is not indicative of unkindness. It fosters strength and self-respect. What is the proposed solution? When an individual consistently appears solely in times of need without inquiring about your well-being, it is advisable to discontinue the relationship. There is no necessity for debate. I am currently unable to assist. This straightforward statement safeguards your tranquility. Advanced age should not be a period in which one bears the burdens of those unwilling to assume personal responsibility. Conserve your resources, both emotional and financial, for individuals who genuinely value them. Those are the people who contribute, show concern, and inquire about your well-being without expecting anything in return. Ultimately, your purpose is not to save the world. Your presence serves to maintain personal tranquility. Secondly, the person who manipulates emotions is the target. Some individuals will not explicitly express a need for assistance. However, they consistently convey a sense of obligation to assist them. The absence of explicit requests or defined needs manifests as deep sighs, fleeting sad narratives, or sorrowful glances that evoke a sense of guilt for inaction. These individuals engage in emotional manipulation. Early recognition of the pattern can prevent it from consuming one's time, energy, and peace without awareness. The experience of my elderly friend, Mrs. Harris, aged 70, exemplifies this phenomenon clearly. She is kind-hearted and held in high regard by all A relative on her husband's side frequently contacted her to discuss his difficulties, including stress related to his children, his wife's job loss, back pain, and unpaid bills. Although he did not explicitly request assistance, Mrs. Harris consistently provided financial support, purchased medication, or sought employment opportunities for his wife following each call. Initially, she was convinced that her actions were justified. She stated that family members ought to support one another. Subsequently, she experienced a fall that necessitated hospitalization. For almost 2 weeks, there have been no calls or visits. At that moment, she recognized that their relationship had consistently been unbalanced. Emotional manipulators do not solicit assistance. They convey a sense of obligation to offer assistance. Ceasing activity often induces feelings of guilt. As we age, we often become more emotionally sensitive. Experiencing losses enables us to empathize with others effectively. There exists a delicate distinction between exhibiting kindness and being exploited. Without boundaries, others may use compassion as a tool for manipulation. Consider whether those individuals were present during your times of need. If the response is negative, you possess your truth. Genuine relationships are reciprocal. A person who only seeks your company in times of need and is absent during your difficulties does not qualify as a true friend. Someone is exploiting you. It is essential to recognize that one is entitled to decline without experiencing guilt. Explanation is unnecessary. One has the option to safeguard one's tranquility. Individuals who genuinely care will comprehend your boundaries. Individuals who do not support you were never genuinely present in your life. I acknowledge that it is more straightforward to articulate than to implement. Many seniors suffer from loneliness, and they may view even harmful relationships as a source of support. It is important to keep these facts in mind. The satisfaction of others does not lead to contentment in later life. It involves selecting individuals who genuinely merit your energy. One should not sacrifice personal value in the act of giving excessively. Establishing boundaries should not lead to feelings of guilt regarding one's character. Do not be apprehensive about losing an individual who lacked genuine concern. You are not experiencing a loss of love. You are relinquishing a burden. Exhibit kindness, yet exercise wisdom. At this stage of life, one deserves to be loved appropriately. At this stage of life, we possess more than mere experience. We bear the marks of lessons acquired through difficult experiences. Among the most prevalent errors observed in older adults, one consistently emerges as particularly notable. One such error is assisting an individual who does not understand the significance of financial resources. An individual who engages in irresponsible spending and adversely affects others is referred to as Henry. I was acquainted with an individual named Henry. Henry was a reflective individual who dedicated his career to accounting and consistently demonstrated prudent financial management. However, he had a grandson, Jake, who consistently lived beyond his financial means. Jake financed his recent automobile acquisition, latest smartphone, and weekend excursions through credit cards. Whenever Jake encountered a financial obstacle, he contacted his grandfather to share a new narrative. He experienced job loss and unexpected expenses. Requesting one final opportunity to rectify the situation, Henry consistently provided assistance out of affection. However, 1 year extended to 2. We observed no improvements. The situation deteriorated. Whenever Henry attempted to decline, Jake would express displeasure, leading Henry to feel self-centered. Only when Henry examined his savings account, which he had accumulated throughout his life, and observed that half of it was depleted, did the reality become apparent to him. He was not facilitating Jake's maturation. He was merely facilitating his continued failure. The risk associated with imprudent spenders is significant. They do not require assistance. They must confront the repercussions of their decisions. If you continue to intervene, they will not develop the ability to be independent. Individuals in older age groups frequently possess a strong inclination to assist, particularly within familial contexts. However, please listen attentively. Assisting others should not jeopardize one's own financial stability. Support must facilitate growth rather than foster dependency. When an individual consistently faces financial crises and seeks assistance without altering their behavior, it is essential to establish boundaries. You have the right to say, "I can't help as much as I used to." No justification is necessary. There is no necessity for guilt. It is unnecessary to assume the role of a personal financial provider for others. At this stage, the sole financial future that warrants protection is your own. Often, those who have made sacrifices don't return the favor when financial resources diminish. Establish limits. Ensure the security of your future. Ensure that your generosity does not enable another's irresponsibility. Love does not entail limitless giving. The focus is on facilitating the development of others so they can achieve independence. If they decline to learn, the most considerate action is to allow them to do so. Please indicate your agreement by commenting, "Yes," below if you found these insights valuable. Your opinions are valuable, and I welcome your feedback. At this stage of life, I have gained significant insight. Advice is effective only when the recipient is genuinely open to receiving it. Throughout life, some individuals subtly undermine one's tranquility. An individual who consistently believes they are correct, remains unresponsive to others' perspectives, and frequently approaches you to express their grievances. Initially, they instill a sense of trust. Individuals approach you with their issues, disputes, unsuccessful strategies, and interpersonal challenges. Your extensive experiences motivate a desire to assist others. You provide direction, draw upon personal experience, and convey insights with integrity and consideration. However, one soon recognizes a particular insight. They consistently disregard your recommendations. They acknowledge, express gratitude, and subsequently revert to the behaviors that initially led to their difficulties. A distant niece in her mid-30s once sought my advice regarding investment strategies. I devoted almost an entire afternoon to advising her to exercise caution. Don't borrow money for projects you don't fully understand. She engaged attentively, acknowledged, and recorded observations. Several months later, she contacted me, profoundly affected. She had depleted her entire savings in a high-risk investment. Upon inquiring about the situation, she responded, "My friend indicated that it was a certainty." I did not experience anger. I have finally attained understanding. Certain individuals prefer to forego guidance. They seek validation. The individual who believes they are always correct is not seeking knowledge. They seek validation. Failure to align with their expectations results in dismissal. Additionally, they might label you as outdated, overly traditional, or not aligned with contemporary trends. Over time, self-questioning may arise. One might question whether their assessment is overly critical. Remaining silent might be advisable. You are correct. You are engaging with an individual who is not prepared to undergo change. With advancing age, kindness may present both beneficial and detrimental effects. Experiencing pain, loss, and regret fosters a profound empathy for the suffering of others. Our objective is to safeguard, direct, and provide. However, it is essential to ensure that empathy does not lead to entrapment in unhealthy, unreciprocated relationships. Consider the following question. Is this individual consistently available to assist me when needed? If the response is negative, the truth is already apparent to you. Genuine friendship is reciprocal. A person who only initiates contact in times of need and is absent during your difficulties does not qualify as a friend. This individual exhibits opportunistic behavior. Individuals possess the autonomy to decline. An explanation is not required. You possess the right to prioritize your well-being. Individuals who genuinely care for and respect you will acknowledge your boundaries. Those who become angry when they receive a negative response are not genuine. They were present solely for their benefit, rather than for your identity. At this point in life, we cannot afford to bear unwarranted guilt. Safeguarding one's emotional well-being is not an act of selfishness. It is essential. You are entitled to tranquility, to repose, and to engage solely with individuals who appreciate your insights and existence. Peace in old age is not achieved through the resolution of others' issues. It derives from the understanding of individuals who genuinely merit your time, affection, and counsel. At this stage in life, we recognize that existence is rarely linear. Individuals occasionally encounter difficulties. Individuals often experience a sense of disorientation during challenging circumstances. Following experiences of loss, pain, or betrayal, Individuals often exhibit increased openness, particularly toward others who appear to be experiencing similar hardships. We aspire to be individuals who listen and demonstrate care. It is challenging to disregard an individual who seemingly requires our assistance. However, there exists a specific type of individual. Neglecting caution may result in kindness transforming into a constraint, leading to a cycle of emotional fatigue. These individuals consistently perceive themselves as victims. They consistently attribute responsibility to others. They seldom, if ever, assume responsibility for their lives. This individual exemplifies what I refer to as the perpetual victim. Failure to exercise caution may result in becoming ensnared in their negative cycle, inadvertently expending sympathy, time, and emotional energy. Initially, they appear as an individual who has experienced trauma. They appear as an individual in need of empathetic listening or emotional support. You express your emotions openly. You demonstrate empathy. We propose that they need only a minimal amount of assistance to achieve stability. However, it becomes clear that each time someone offers advice, they explain why it doesn't work. Every time they provide assistance, a narrative of sorrow follows. Refusing a request often leads to feelings of guilt. I observed these events directly with a former acquaintance, Arthur, aged 75, who is a retired librarian. He encountered a woman named Maria during a yoga class. There was widespread sympathy for her situation. She had experienced the loss of her husband. Her children seldom contacted her, and she frequently faced health issues. Arthur, demonstrating his benevolence, extended an invitation to her classes, assisted in arranging medical appointments, and provided financial assistance. However, he quickly recognized that his actions did not promote her independence. Maria consistently refrained from taking initiative. It was consistently, "I am unable to. I am uncertain about the appropriate course of action. I receive no assistance." Despite receiving substantial support, she consistently portrayed herself as a victim of her family, society, and fate. Individuals who consistently identify as victims often prioritize attention over the pursuit of solutions. They seek emotional support akin to that of dependent adults. The concerning aspect is that increased assistance leads to heightened expectations for problem resolution. Fatigue can lead to self-doubt. Am I exhibiting excessive emotional distance? What happens if others don't offer help? Consequently, one may find oneself in a predicament. At this stage of life, it is essential to maintain mental acuity. Compassion is a valuable quality, however. It must be appropriately directed. Observing an individual who consistently adopts a victim mentality without making efforts to effect change may warrant a reconsideration of one's involvement. It is possible to express concern and goodwill without assuming responsibility for others' challenges. It is important to recognize that kindness does not equate to self-sacrifice. If an individual consistently depletes your emotional resources, it is entirely appropriate to establish a boundary. You are not exhibiting selfishness, rather, you are safeguarding your well-being. At a certain point in life, it's no longer about pleasing everyone. It's about living with clarity, lightness, and staying true to your heart. Before you go, take a deep breath and ask yourself honestly, have you ever given so much to someone that it left you feeling empty? Have you ever lost sleep worrying about someone who never once asked how you were doing? If so, you're not alone. Many of us, especially in our later years, carry hearts full of love. But don't forget to save some of that love for ourselves. This stage of life should be about peace, not pressure. This video is about choosing who gets your time and not feeling guilty for saying no. And that's what this video was really about. This video aims to grant you the authority to safeguard your tranquility. Helping others isn't wrong, it's beautiful. However, what happens when we assist the wrong individuals? That's where we begin to lose ourselves. From now on, choose your kindness with care. Set boundaries with confidence, and surround yourself with people who see your value, not just your usefulness. Now I'd love to hear from you. Was there a type of person today that resonated with your life? Please provide your comments in the section below. Your narrative may provide essential insights for another reader. If this video prompted reflection, please consider liking, subscribing, and activating notifications to remain informed about our shared insights. Your support is invaluable. contributing significantly to the continuous growth of this community of resilient, compassionate, and knowledgeable seniors. Prioritize your well-being, you deserve it. I look forward to our next meeting.